Polygraph to detect deception has been extensively researched. Accuracy varies between 50 and 90%. For this reason, polygraph evidence is rarely accepted in a court of law. Recently, efforts to find a foolproof lie detection technology have gathered pace. Some of the most cutting-edge technologies are being developed and tested at the Defense Academy at Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Welcome to the Defense Academy for Credibility Assessment.
Researchers at the Academy have created a virtual interrogator, an avatar. It allows them to test the effects of changing the gender and look of the avatar in their lie detection experiments.
Good morning, Dr. Denver. Thank you for agreeing to talk with me today. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Please answer yes or no to each question. Let's begin.
In this test, a subject is asked a series of questions while an infrared camera records minute changes in temperature on their face.
Are you over the age of 17?
Yes.
You're looking for temperature changes to questions of interest.
Are you now in South Carolina?
Yes.
And temperatures increase a little bit when someone has gotten a little nervous about a question.
Do you sometimes drink water?
No.
Usually they're just very minute, tenth of a degree changes that occur for a few milliseconds. They rapidly come up and then they rapidly go away back to a baseline.
Are you now on Fort Jackson?
No.
When Dr. Denver lied to this question, the computer correctly identified the deception by picking up the minute changes of temperature in his face, which are not visible to the naked eye.
If John Denver was answering that question to a border crossing guard, there could be a consequence to that. That might have meaningful information to that investigator, and they might say, John, we're going to take you over to this other room. I want to ask you a few more questions.
The interview is now over. Thank you for agreeing to talk with me today.
Not all the latest technologies rely on measuring a stress response to lying. This technology tracks the movement of the eyes when we look at human faces.
You look at pictures differently if they're familiar to you than if they're not familiar. If it's a familiar face, they will focus in on the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And if they're not familiar, the gaze pattern diverges. The brain keeps saying, no, get me more information. Get me information around the hair, give me the ears, give me the chin, get me as much information as I can.
This technology could be used in missing persons cases. A suspect could be asked if they recognize someone. They might say that they don't, but their eye movements might betray that they do. None of these lie detection technologies are completely reliable. They all have their flaws. Those which rely on measuring stress responses might be fooled by the fact that people can experience stress even when they are telling the truth. Also, some people can lie without showing any stress. Even the eye tracking technology could be tricked by someone simply controlling their eye movements. But what if we were able to look even deeper into the human physiology, at the source of all truth and lies, the human brain? Researchers at Columbia University in New York have devised an experiment to see if the brain functions differently when we are lying. The magnetic resonance imaging machine measures increased areas of activity in different parts of the brain. In the experiment, a volunteer is placed in the MRI scanner.
So we're about to begin, Bobby. Are you set?
Yes, I'm ready.
He's then asked to tell a story in his head.
Begin the truthful story.
The first story is truthful.
Stop the story. Rest.
The second story is false.
Begin your deceptive story.
As the subject tells the story in their head, every part of their brain is scanned. The results are revealed later, once the images have been analyzed.
What we see in this map is that there are a number of colored areas. And these colored areas are areas where the computer has told us that there is a very, very elevated signal during the time that Bobby was telling a lie. This area in the center is the cingulate gyrus, known for its error correction functions.
This area of the brain may help the liar monitor what he is saying.
The middle frontal gyrus, an area for storytelling and language functions as well.
Fabricating a story may well put extra demands on this part of the brain.
So each of these areas are active when he was lying to us, and they are not active when he was telling the truth.
These new technologies are in the early stages of development. They've yet to be fully tested in real-life criminal interrogations. Will any of them ever be 100% accurate?
I'm skeptical. I think the MRI is based on a series of assumptions. I don't think it will do any better than the pseudoscientific technologies that have preceded it in ferreting out innocence from guilt, truth-telling from deception based on what's in one's mind, one's brain waves, one's body language. I think the whole endeavor is fraught with error, and we'll never in our lifetimes see the magic technology.
A technology which can detect deception 100% of the time, most believe will always elude us. In the absence of such a technology, we continue to depend on highly skilled interrogators who are dedicated